South Africa, Australia, Malaysia, Dubai. We visited all those countries on the European Tour already this year, and this week we're in the Middle East at Qatar, at Doha. A wonderful golf course on the Persian Gulf. The Scottish flag flying bravely there. Last year it was Andrew Coulthard from Scotland who took that wonderful trophy. And another Scot could be successful this year. Paul Lawrie takes a 5-shot lead into round 4. And if he can maintain his form through and on the green that he's produced over the last 3 days, he could be tough to dislodge. Paul Laurie's only victory came over 36 holes in Catalan. But this week, he's going for a 72-hole success. He's had 17 birdies in 54 holes, and he's dropped only 1 shot. He has played superbly through the green. And of all the competitors here this week, no one has got the measure of those wonderful greens than Paul Lawrie from Aberdeen. Brilliant stuff. Enjoying himself on a golf course which is a stern test when the wind is blowing. This shot at the short 13th yesterday, producing yet another birdie for the Scot. Playing with confidence. He dropped his only shot at the 15th yesterday, then held that putt for a birdie at the 16th. And when he came to the last, he had yet another chance of a birdie. He made par, but ended the day 5 shots clear of his nearest challenger, a Frenchman who has won only once before on the European Tour, Jean van der Velde, benefiting, like Lawrie, from a lengthy break when he went skiing and never took his golf clubs out of the garage. He played a brilliant shot from the rough at the 15th and coaxed this putt across the green at 15 for a remarkable birdie as he edged clear of Gallagher and Russell and John Bickerton, who are all on 10 under par. Phil Price, Alex Cheika, Kang and Kelson at 9 under. You know, one of the nice things about covering the European Tour in the early part of the season is that, well, we're not in Europe where it's all cold and wet at this time of the year. We're in places like Qatar, where we are this week. Another sunny, warm day here. Breezy again, of course, but the big question is, can Paul Lawrie from Scotland, who's 5 shots clear going into this final round, can he stay there and win his first 72-hole event?
Well, he's just played perfect golf up until now, and you would think that it would be a breeze for him, literally, even though today it's going to probably get up and be quite blustery. He's led, or he's leading the stats in every department this week, so from tee to green, on the green, his game is spot on song, but it's going to be a nervy time. You know, he hasn't won a 72-hole event, and it's never easy when you're trying to do that. Will he try and guard that lead, or will he still play aggressively?
I think he'll probably play aggressively. He's dropped only 1 shot this week in 54 holes, and he plays quite well in the wind, because when he won at Catalan over 36 holes, albeit it was very, very windy. That's why they couldn't complete 72 holes.
Just remember, though, what happened in Portugal last year. Leading going into the last round, shot an 82. Yes. He'll want to lay that one to rest.
I think he's playing a bit better today than, or this week, than he was in Portugal, but we'll need to wait and see. Just in behind him, Jean van der Velde. He hasn't won for quite some time. And then there's Bickerton, and there's Gallagher, Stephen Gallagher, the nephew of Bernard Gallagher, the old Ryder Cup captain. And also up there too is Raymond Russell. So still quite a battle likely, especially if Lawrie doesn't get off to a fast start like he did yesterday.
Yes, but even those players behind, you know, they'll find it nervy because either they've not won or they haven't won for, you know, some time. Cheika, 369 so far this week. Don't rule him out. He's actually putting a little bit better as well. So there's a whole flotilla of players behind, all ready to come through if he should wobble a little.
Well, I tell you this, it's a great course, this Qatar course, and we're going to see a great final round, I'm sure. Who's going to win? Well, who knows? But we'll check up on what's been happening here already at Qatar today after the break. Well, if anything, it's hotter here in Qatar today than it's been for the last 3 days. The wind is in a slightly different direction, and it's coming straight over from Saudi Arabia. And, well, it's going to be hot and not steamy here. It's quite dry, but there might be some sand floating around towards the end of the afternoon. Well, Patrick Sherland from Sweden, 74, 69, 72. But when he came to the last, he needed to hold this shot from the rough through the green to equal the course record of 64. And he came very close to doing it. Sherland, who will be heading off next to the World Championship event in San Diego, in which his first opponent in the match play competition is Jim Furyk. 65 then, and 8 under par for Patrick Sherland. And today no drop shots. 4 birdies in and out with 32-3 in his inward 33. Paul Lawrie, the leader, got off to a steady start, 5-4, par, but then ran into just a little bit of trouble here, Warren, at the third.
A very good par 3, 230 yards, and an awkward spot from the thick rough that's been specially grown for this week. Not able to control the ball. And the putter that has served him so well for most of the week, not able to get him out of a jam, and that's his second drop shot of the tournament. So perhaps giving a glimmer of hope to his fellow professionals.
Paul Lawrie then 1 over for the day after 3. But here, Lawrie setting up an excellent chance for a birdie at the 4th. They hold that putt. Parred the 5th. And here he is at the 6th. Russell at the 6th.
Russell got off to a good start, birdied the first hole, 4 straight pars, and a corker of a second.
Lawrie at 16 under then, just the way he started, level par through 5. He's currently playing the 6th hole. Raymond Russell at 12 under, he's 2 under for the day. Sharon Kelson and John Bickerton and Jean van der Velde all at 10 under par. Van der Velde 1 over for the day. And Philip Price is up there at 9 under. Patrick Sherland leading in the club. As Bob May is at 8 under par. He's 1 under for the day through 8 holes as he chases his, well, 4th top 10 finish of the season. Remember, he was 2nd in Malaysia, 5th in the Heineken down in Australia, and 6th in the South African Open. On down the list, Stephen Gallagher not going quite so well. Stephen Gallagher opened with a birdie, which was fine, but he dropped a shot at the 2nd. And then at the 5th hole, he ran up a double bogey, so he's back on 8 under par. And maybe his chance of winning this week has already gone. Wayne Riley, who played well last week, up there on 5 under. And on down the list, there's Jerry Norquist at 2 under. He's just completed his run. So Jerry Norquist finishing inside the top 30 this week. Norquist, who was the winner, of course, in Malaysia. Well, this is Paul Lawrie from almost the same spot we saw Raymond Russell hitting his second shot at the 6th. Russell made a birdie from where he was. Can Lawrie do the same?
9 iron, second for Paul Lawrie, 137 yards into that little bit of breeze, and the ball holding up, so another edgy moment for the Aberdonian. So many people coming up to Paul Lawrie and almost congratulating him before the 4th round had started, and he said, well, just remember there's a long way to go yet. Full 18 holes, anything can happen, he knows that. And he has to stay fairly cool and calm. He has played really quite beautifully all week, hardly missed a green. And he's got to dig deep on these perhaps early testing moments until he can just settle himself down.
68, 65, 67 for Lawrie this week. Lawrie has shot 65 about half a dozen times in tournaments. Notably, he shot 65 in 1993 in the Open Championship at Royal St George's, which was won by Greg Norman. That was in 1993, and Lawrie finished 6th that week.
Pretty good shot from where he was, and that should be close enough for him to secure his par.
He has that useful cushion, of course, of 5 shots. The others chasing, well, 4 now, but 5 shots when he started. And he can afford to make the odd mistake because his challengers have got to make birdies. They've got to catch him. And with the wind blowing the way it is, birdies are not all that easy to come by. So maybe the weather conditions benefiting Lawrie. Jean van der Velde, who is 1 over for the round today, dropped a shot at the second hole, pars at the other 4.
Well, actually driven the ball too well this week, Jean. He's just over 50% of the fairways hit, but his greens in regulation have been exemplary, very high stats. He's currently 11th in the table for greens in reg, so probably not missing the fairway by too much. And he's putted pretty well up to now, but that's not a very aggressive stroke, up the hill and into a little bit of grain. Grain on this course will turn the ball, certainly as the ball dies. It takes a little bit of reading, and when you've got wind to contend with as well, got to concentrate quite hard.
Well, quite a few players missing fairways. Here's Kelson at the 9th. This is his 3rd shot. He's 1 under for the day, and he's 10 under for the tournament. Kelson, Bickerton and Van der Velde all on 10 under, and just ahead of them Russell on 12 under, and Lawrie at 16 under par. Problems here for Van der Velde. Really came up desperately short here with his approach putt, and this for his par.
Good putt to hold. Didn't want to go 2 over par for the round, but needs birdies today if he's going to push Paul Lawrie. Has been putting well all week.
Raymond Russell's 2nd to the 7th, 2 under today. He's quite a dour competitor. He's a much nicer fellow than he sometimes looks on the golf course. He doesn't have too much to say, and he has that dour Scottish look about him at times. Comes from Preston Pans, just outside Edinburgh. Lawrie for par. Well hold.
Yes, and that's a good putt, and that's a good hole actually for him because he's missed the green. Still able to keep his composure, good up and down, and it's what the players like to have under their belt. Sometimes on the early holes, ability to get it up and down gives them a little bit of confidence.
We had a Scottish winner here last year in the first Qatar Masters. Andrew Coulthard was the winner. Well, hasn't played quite so well this year. He's finished at 2 under par, 71, 69, 74, and today a 72. 2 drops shots on the outward 9 and a couple of birdies coming home. But Andrew Coulthard 14 shots behind the man who's leading at the present moment. So no successful defence for him. Well, that was very nicely held there by Kelson. A 4 there for an outward half of 34, and Kelson moves to 11 under par and is 3rd on his own now, just ahead of Bickerton and Van der Velde. Useful putt there to hold.
You'd have thought he'd won the tournament with that, didn't you? Still got 9 to play. Now this man, when he gets on a roll, he is a very fine putter indeed. I mentioned yesterday that 8 birdies on the bounce that he had to start his round a couple of years ago in the British Masters. Not afraid to put good scores together.
Stays at 12 under par on this final day. The event finishing early in order that those players who are playing in the World Championship event, the match play event in America, will have some time, a little extra time to get there and get acclimatized. Not that Lawrie or Russell are involved in that, nor in fact Kjelsen, Bickerton, Van de Velde or Philip Price, the top 6 on the leaderboard at the moment.
Downwind down 18, isn't it?
Downwind down 10.
I mean, downwind down 10, into the wind at 18. So these early holes, it's more across, isn't it?
11 will be quite tough.
Well, it's not long enough. It's not long enough to be tough. And these are all going to play crosswind. So 18 will be into the wind. So it's, from that point of view, not too many holes into the wind. It's going to be more crosswind most of the time.
Does the season end now after that one?
Yeah.
So the Global Masters is no longer the end of the season. So just another event.
I don't know, does that World Championship event count? It must do.
That's the clubhouse here at Doha. We're at the Qatar Masters this week. Very cool in there. They've even got running water running down staircases, little staircases inside, which adds to the coolness because it's very, very hot outside today. Paul Lawrie leads here on 16 under by 4 from Raymond Russell.
Yes.
You can see the board there, 197 yards, the 8th and a very pretty and demanding hole. Par 3 down the hill, water biting into the green on the left-hand side, thick rough and bunkers away to the right, so shot players have just got to hit the green. And a good shot by Raymond Russell, just a tad short. And you can see the breeze coming across the hole there, a little bit from right to left. It's pretty much across for most of the holes. Holes like 9 and 18 will be into the breeze, so they'll be demanding par 5s. But generally, a cross breeze either right to left or left to right. So perhaps one of the reasons why the scoring just a tad better today than it has been over the last couple of days.
That's what Jean Van de Velde has left here at the 7th. Stephen Gallagher, by the way, has dropped another shot, so he's back to 7 under par. And sadly 3 over par for the 7 holes he's played today, so I don't reckon he'll be in the mix at the end of the day. Bob May parred the 9th and has gone through the turn in 1 under par, so he's lying joint 7th on 8 under. Oh, Jerry Norquist, the other American in the field, finishing on 2 under par.
150 yards for Jean, just under. Either a big 9 or just a little 8-iron for him. Just how he sees it. Might have a little bit of a flying line, that semi-rough. Ball sitting cleanly. Fortunate break that he didn't get caught up and snarled up in that thickish rough in the slightly less thick semi.
Well, first sight today of Gallagher. Things just not going well for him. Gallagher playing today with Raymond Russell, and you can hear his playing partner Russell giving him a good word of congratulations for that shot, giving him that little bit of encouragement that perhaps he needs.
Is it good for two Scots to be playing together? I don't know.
Sometimes it isn't.
Now Laurie's much further down the hole than his playing partner Jean van der Velde. 115 yards to go, just a nice wedge. And if he can keep this below the hole, it's probably his game plan, so he can be a little bit more aggressive with the putt. He's been working with a sports psychologist back in Scotland, trying to make him play more of a percentage game. Play for pars, let the birdies come, don't try and force things too much, and that seems to be working very nicely for him this week.
Well, he's dropped only 2 shots, and he's had 18 birdies, and he's 16 under par. Well, ahead on the 8th, Raymond Russell has a putt for a 2. Parred this hole on the first 2 days, dropped a shot here yesterday in the 3rd round. But you're quite right in saying that the putter usually works well for him, because I think most of his colleagues on tour are impressed by his putting stroke.
Yes, it's not that dissimilar to Ben Crenshaw's sort of putting stroke. Stands tall, lets the arms swing, and has a good rhythm to it. And usually, commentator's nightmare here, usually gets the pace pretty well. This fairly swinging putt from right to left, and there, not too far away from there. That ball going in for a 2.
So he's going to get his 3 here and stay at 12 under. But he didn't let you down, Warren.
He's averaging 29 putts around this week, and that's not too bad on these fairly large greens. But it's some time since he's been in with a chance of winning. Of course, he played 23 events last year, missed the cut 18 times, so he didn't get too many opportunities, but did well in the Open.
Yeah, where did his form come from that week? And a very difficult week when it blew very strongly at Royal Birkdale.
Just came out of the blue, but remember, he was debilitated at the beginning of the season with that hepatitis B. Really knocked the stuffing out of him, and of course then once you start missing cuts and you're not feeling well anyway, then you start to lose confidence as well. So it was just one of those really hick seasons, which comes really, or it came for him more through a virus. And with the sand iron for Jean, just trying to coax one down the slope. Of course, it's going down the slopes in the Pyrenees for Jean van der Velde over the winter. Very keen skier.
Matthias Gronberg and Frederick Lindgren have eagled the 10th already today. Now Ian Woosnam has the chance to do so. Oh, that's lucky. He'll get his birdie. They'll move to 9 under par, but he's lying 6th. But that really doesn't mean a great deal, because he is 7 shots off the lead. It would be a lot to expect him to come back from 7 back with 9 to play against Paul Lawrie to win this. But he could finish in the top 3 in Woosnam if he gets that putter really working on the back 9. Bob May has also got the chance to birdie at the 10th.
A little bit on the defensive side, that coming down the hill for Paul Lawrie. He knows that was a good chance. Perhaps could have given that a bit more of a run.
I can tell you that Bob May has birdied the 10th. It has moved to 9 under. He's lying now joint 6th with Woosnam and with Philip Price. Gallagher parred the 8th. We saw him close to the pin, didn't get the 2, so Gallagher and Russell both parring the short 8th. We're with Kilson on the 10th.
262 yards to get past that bunker on the left, and most of the players getting well beyond that, leaving themselves a couple of 100 yards to go to the green. That's the sort of 3-iron range, 4-iron for some of the players, but they've got to get up to that top plateau. Not easy with a long iron.
Bob Torrance is Raymond Russell's coach, Sam Torrance's father.
Yes, doesn't see Bob all that often, Raymond, especially when he's been out in Australia and touring round, but tries to see him if he can once every 5 or 6 weeks.
He enjoys playing down in Australia. He likes the golf courses down there. 12 under for Russell, 4 behind the leader, Paul Lawrie. Cage won it 1 year.
Yeah. Cage finished second that year, and then
No, I don't think so. Carter, I think, finished. Welcome back. Paul Lawrie is at the short 8th. Raymond Russell, his nearest challenger, has just parred it. Maybe just a little bit more anxious today than he's been at any stage during the week, and maybe that's understandable.
Well, 2 ways players can view this shot. In a right to left breeze, can aim it almost straight at the flag and try and play the little cut, hold it up into the breeze, or they can aim down the safer side and perhaps just let the wind float the ball back towards the flag. But with water left, if you play for the cut, just pull it a fraction. The water's awaiting, but that's a classy shot. Did well to back off it. And, well, we've seen him play so many shots like that over the first 3 days. That will really do his confidence a lot of good. Confidence, such a big factor in the end in winning. You can take your practice ground swing onto the course, but you've still got to score. You've still got to believe that you can play the shot when it's asked.
I'm sure that his coach, Adam Hunter, who used to play on tour, will be watching very carefully how his pupil is doing.
Well, I've had conversations on the telephone every night. And Hunter says, keep on doing what you're doing. It's working well and you're looking good. John just playing the other shot, drawing it in on the breeze and not able to get that to settle as quickly as Lawrie. A good shot nevertheless.
Well, Kelson held from just off the green at 9 for a birdie. Can he chip it in for an eagle here at 10? Wow, throwing it up almost like a bunker recovery from that thick rough.
Well, I tell you what, if he had a hold, he'd been jumping around the green, wouldn't he? If the last was anything to go by. End up doing cartwheels.
Just kept his card and no more last year. Oh, problems for... Is it Stephen Gallagher's ball?
Yes, Gallagher and Russell playing the 9th, and balls drifted away into the wasteland areas.
All the people wearing tiger red are stewards, all volunteers, all enjoying their week here in Qatar.
Of course, that wasteland area is a dry water hazard, so they've only got to determine, if they can't find the ball, where it crossed the margin of the hazard, and you'll then be able to get a drop out. So at least it won't be a lost ball, but more problems for the young Scot.
Kilson at 10 for his birdie.
That rather worrying putting stroke, or grip I should say. It's the Langer style, with the right hand gripping the forearm of the left forearm.
We were talking in Australia last week about the fact that Craig Spence, the man who beat Greg Norman to win the Australian Masters, was using the long putt, and he's only 24. So Kelson is pretty young to have putting problems here on the European Tour, if he's got to putt the Bernard Langer way this early in his career.
This while Stephen plays the second shot to lay it up on this par 5. Just a quick birthday hello to Mark Rowe, whose birthday today, not going along too well, I'd have to say. 3 over par for his round, 1 under for the tournament. Tied for 36. I'm sure he'd like to turn that around. Get back perhaps to level par for the day. Rowe, who now plays out of Lovejoy Fine Arts and Antiques. Fancies himself as an antique dealer.
Yes, and maybe we should explain that Lovejoy was a television series in which the character was either an antique dealer himself or certainly worked in an antiques shop, in a loose sense.
A little bit of a shady character
yes,
too.
in a loose sense.
But I think that's
but
certainly
very likeable.
a likeable rogue.
And there's nothing shady, we might add, about Mark Rowe's antique business. It's quite kosher.
Unusual slope this for Jean, because the whole green slopes right to left, but that one going the other way, not easy to read.
Waited quite some time to get his second win on tour. It was way back in 1993 that he won the Roman Masters, and we thought that that might be the first of quite a few titles for Van der Velde, who was ending a long drought of French golfers on tour. Young Gary Eld had been the French winner before Van der Velde, and that was well, a good 20 years or so earlier.
Yes, and then Thomas Levy popped up and won in Cannes last year when he was off the main tour.
Yeah, didn't even have a card. Beautiful too from Paul Lawrie at the short 8th, moves him to 17 under par. He started the day 5 shots clear of his nearest rivals, and he is again 5 shots clear of Raymond Russell. Paul Lawrie on 17 under, Raymond Russell at 12 under, And Søren Kjeldsen at 11 under on this final day of the Qatar Masters. Maybe not this time. Certainly a stroke of the young man. I think he played in the Eisner Trophy or something like that. I remember that's
94.
Yeah, so did Christopher Hannell. We saw Raymond Russell playing up the 9th, ranked the 5th most difficult hole and averaging 5.08, but it's a much more difficult hole today with the wind in the direction that it is than it has been perhaps earlier in the week. Down on the tee at the 647-yard hole, Jean van der Velde. He could be in trouble. Oh, okay. This is off tape because Lawrie, of course, had the honour.
Missed the fairway away to the right yesterday, quite close to the place where Stephen Gallagher drove the ball, but today making no mistakes.
It's a very solid swing, isn't it?
It's a lot more solid, I think, this year than last year, and obviously what he's been working on with Adam Hunter is exactly the right things. Much stronger from the tee.
Well, Raymond Russell didn't like that from the moment he hit it, and it's probably spoiled his chance of getting a birdie at the 9th. He'll be coming down the hill and across the little slope and hoping to two-putt for his par.
Diminutive Dane, only 5'7". And that's a lovely shot to 11. Well, his biggest check last year at the 1-to-1 British Masters, £11,000, and that was near towards the end of the season. Thankfully that was enough for him to keep his card, finished in 115th place.
There's another Scandinavian up on the leaderboard as we glance at Kjeldsen's figures. Christopher Hannell has just birdied the 10th hole to move to 9 under par. He's 1 under for the day. Bob May, however, has dropped a shot at the 11th and has slipped back to 8 under. He's on 9th spot with Sherland in the clubhouse and with Alex Cheka, who's gone through the turn in 37, 1 over today.
As Chaka, remember, one of just 3 players to be under 70 in all 3 rounds. He's shot 369s, so not showing good last round form.
Pretty useful 3 there from Philip Price. An eagle at the 10th. He'd parred all the holes going out. An eagle at 10 moves him, however, to 11 under par, and he's sharing 3rd place now with Kelson.
Likes that hole. Made an eagle on day 1 when he pitched in.
Raymond Russell, talking last night at dinner, Raymond Russell is not the fastest of players on the golf course.
No, he's been held up a little bit too on this hole by partner Gallagher, who went at the green with his 4th, hit it in the water, so he's dropped out for 5. He'll be playing 6, so a bit of a disaster coming up for young Stephen. He'll need to settle down. Perhaps 10 and 11 and get his composure, get back into the tournament.
This is by no means a straight putt. You can see the undulations on the green. I may say that the greens have putted superbly all week, and the condition of the course, the greenkeeping staff under the supervision of Ranald McAneil have done a marvellous job.
Thought for a minute he was going to pop that one in from just under 30 feet. He's had a 6 on the hole on day 1, 5 on day 2. Thought that might have been his first 4.
And the first sign of camels that we've seen here this week. Plenty of them around, of course. And way away, there's a fast one. They race camels out here, you know, little boys. They stick them on with Velcro, the little jockeys, and they chase around the desert.
John Bickerton, strong player, 2nd to 10, and that's a good shot. So he'll have an outside chance for an eagle, long 40-footer. Who's a level par for the round, still at 10 under. He'll want to do well this week. His wife Julie's her birthday today, so perhaps with a good back 9 might be a present to her.
Well, that's the trophy. Andrew Coltart said he was sorry that he didn't get to take that home. What they do get is a very small replica of that trophy, and Coltart telling us that his replica has been on the top of the television set all year.
Why the television set, I wonder? Why not a cabinet?
He hasn't got one. Just thinking that down here, you know, if you were wanting a golfing holiday, it's a terrific place to come. The practice area is first class, both for chipping and putting and for hitting long shots. And the course is a great one to play. The climate is excellent, the food is good.
That was a good putt from Russell. I was wondering whether when he walked on the green he saw that Paul Lawrie had birdied the 8th hole and perhaps thought he had to put his foot down a little bit and try and force some birdies. What he didn't want to do was drop a shot there, so a good
Our computer is saying that Raymond Russell has had a 6. So I wonder if he's been in trouble. We saw no indication that he'd been in trouble off the tee. We'll perhaps confirm that. But if in fact Russell has taken 6 there, and we don't know why it has happened, Paul Lawrie will have a 6-shot advantage over the field as he turns for the back 9.
John van der Velde. Third shot to the 9th.
Well, news from the golf course from one of our spotters out there is that in fact Russell did top his second shot, and that's why he's taken 6. We didn't see that top shot. We were away at a break, and I can confirm that Russell is now just 1 under for the day, 11 under for the tournament, and he's sharing second place with Kelson Price, and they're all 6 shots behind Paul Lawrie. So this man is in a very, very strong position to win this event in the next 2 hours.
Yes, here that Raymond Russell actually second shot with a driver, trying to gain some yardage, and well, very unfortunate for him, hit the top. So really now it's for Lawrie to lose this event.
This is Kelson. Par at 10, par at 11. Paul Lawrie has a very comfortable 6-shot lead over the field, and his challengers are running out of holes.
I couldn't put those big markers on it with rings. It would annoy me that seeing the ball roll across the green. I think just a little dot. But
Sometimes that I'm not quite sure whether it's playing that on replay. That's why it's a par.
yeah.
10 and 11. I wasn't sure what it really was.
Right, is it?
Late the last 2 hours, absolutely. Totally. You want to put him on the kettle and have breakfast. Three journeys to get in an hour and a half.
There's a tough full breeze there.
Just in time to see Jean van der Velde at the 9th, putting for a birdie. But he's going to stay at 10 under par. I can tell you while you're away that John Bickerton had an eagle putt at 10, didn't make it, but tapped in for his birdie to move to 11 under par and make it a 4-way tie for second spot, 6 behind Lawrie. Price is one of the players in joint second spot. This is second to 11.
Good shot from Philip. Again, you can see another one of these holes. Cross breeze, that was into him a little bit, and from left to right you could see the hand gesturing that breeze perhaps a touch stronger than he thought. Lawrie now to increase his lead. And is it going to have enough pace? It is. And this now could be just a walk in the park for Paul Lawrie. 18 under, that was the magical figure at the start of the week that some of the players were thinking that would win the tournament. But that was discounting the breeze that we've had all week, and it's been fairly strong. So that prediction came down pretty early. So it's a marvellous performance from Lawrie to be at 18 under, still with 9 to play.
18 under was the winning total last year for Andrew Coulthard. He won by 2.
Yes, that was a fine last round of 67.
Van der Velde makes his par and stays at 10 under par. But you could argue, Warren, that the golf course is a more difficult golf course this year than it was when Coulthard finished 18 under, and for Lawrie to be 18 under at this stage and 7 shots clear of his nearest rivals with 9 to play is an excellent performance.
Oh, well, couldn't agree more, and I suppose it's reflected by the fact that the players in second place are at 11 under. Just the replay there of Laurie's fine birdie. So 2 birdies on the bounce for him, and he's really got a stranglehold now. 7-shot lead, 9 to play.
Yes, picking up 3 shots on his nearest challenger Russell over these 2 holes just at the end of the front 9. 2-shot swing at 9, where Lawrie took 4 and Russell took a bogey 6. I beg your pardon, bogey 6. This is Russell. And if the 9th is a tough hole into the wind, the 10th is playing much easier.
Just cut this one up there.
An eagle here for Russell, and he might get back into it again, but he will have felt that he's had a blow to the solar plexus, I think, having dropped a shot at 9 where Lawrie birdied. You'd argue there's a great battle going on for second spot.
There is Russell trying to hit the high metalwood into the green, and a little bit unlucky. That's where power comes into play. We've seen some players, John Bickerton, able to get on that green with an iron.
I'm wondering if, as the weather forecast has predicted, that wind is just going to move around a little bit towards the latter stages of this final round. Kelson second to 12.
Yes, might move around and might just get a little bit stronger. That would make it interesting, but Philip now. Birdie attempt. See, now I always say that, or I have said in the past, that he comes from Pontypridd, but it isn't, it's Pontypridd. I never understood that the double D in Welsh was a TH sound, but I was put right by some Welsh colleagues just the other night, so he comes from Pontypridd.
I tell you, let's have a look at 10 here at Doha. Another par 5, and today playing, or at least it has been playing downwind. To get past these bunkers, Warren.
262 yards and a pretty good belt. He was in the left rough here, Lawrie, and couldn't get on the green in 2 yesterday. I want to try and hit it on the short grass if he can.
Well, very encouraging for him. 5 shots ahead when he started, and now with 9 to play, 7 shots clear as we continue down the 10th. The second shot is played to a green which is raised, and the front part of it, the bank, is very thick grass indeed. And if you do go through the green, of course, there's the danger that you could go right over the green and then down the bank at the other side. Russell hasn't done that. He's on the level, even if he's off the putting surface. Van der Velde on the tee.
I think he might just be okay. Just in the little bit of fringe grass. Leave him about 20 yards to go for Jean.
There's another birdie chance coming up here at 12 for Søren Kelsen from Denmark. Kissed the hole on the way past, but will remain at 11 under, sharing that second spot.
And of course he's got a connection with the Scots too, because he's coached by Dundee's Colin Smith, who's based out in Soren's part of the world. So the Scots have a lot going for them this week.
And no Scot more than Paul Lawrie. We'll go down the list a little bit. There's Bob May at 8 under par, currently lying in joint 10th spot with Patrick Sherland. Wayne Riley at 5 under. Gallagher has slipped back to 5 under. Remember, he was lying pretty handy going into this final round. In fact, on 10 under par, so 5 over for the day. Jerry Norquist there from America, 2 under par in the clubhouse. Top 30 finish for him. Stephen Webster at 2 under, and he has finished. Mark Rowe on his birthday, 2 under. Maybe looking for a birdie at the last to finish 3 under. And last week's winner, David Howell, 2 under on this occasion, and finishing in the middle of the field. And all those players on par. 48 players par or better at the moment.
Well, it is a quiet event, so there's, if we actually go gushy, it'll all be out of kind of way that's good. So much for, well, I'll Russell will win this. Good job with it set on air. They should win now. 7 with 9. A couple of par 5s. I wonder if Ian McDonald is going to come in with a cup of tea. Pack up, I suppose. You have enough piece of time, just having a stroll.
Sorry to interrupt you, actually, when I get back.
You had a break.
Paul Laurie's leading by 7 shots here at Qatar. Quite a battle going on for second place in this competition this week. Unlikely, I think, that Laurie is going to lose it now. We're with Philip Price, one of the players who's on 11 under. And this is second shot to the 12th.
Just move the pin a little bit further towards the front of the green, nearer the gully that guards that left entrance to the 12th. But a good shot by Price.
Russell played a good shot from just through the green to where you saw him putting from, and that birdie moves him to 12 under par, and he's in second place on his own. We're going to ignore Euro, which no one understands. It's $1 million prize fund here, $166,660 to the winner, $111,100 to the man who's runner-up, or if you like it in pounds, £102,283 to the winner, £68,184 to the runner-up.
Big hit with an iron to get it onto the green from where John is. Jean, I should say, but he's carried that a long way. 225 yards to the front of the green. Big hit with the 2-iron.
has that for an eagle opportunity.
That would indicate, that flag would indicate that the wind has switched and is now almost blowing across the hole and into their faces rather than helping them, especially if they're using such long clubs for their second shots. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's just swirling around a little, just quartering all the time. But Lawrie, same shot required. One club less in his hand, and probably could have done with the same club. Might just be in the bank, and then it's a question of whether he can pop it up over that line. Almost seemed to catch that ball a little bit thin, I think. Quite hit it as solidly as he's been doing all week.
Also at the Guardian performance data.
87%, that's just 10 greens missed in regulation.
It's ironic they should put that up just when he misses it. Well, he doesn't miss the green in regulation, it's a par 5. So he hasn't missed it yet. First in putts per green in regulation. I never understand that 1.6. I don't think many other people do either.
Well, it's nearly one putt hold every other green.
There you are, that's what it means. I've never heard people in the bar on the 19th saying, gosh, I had 1.7.4, 1.74 greens in regulation putts today. This is a bit of a mystery. Can Russell make something of a charge on the final 9? Bickerton to join Russell on 12 under. Bickerton, that Iron Man. 22 weeks in a row he played last year. Anyway, this is Philip Price for a birdie to join Russell on 12 under. Well, here at the 10th, Lawrie with his third shot at the par 5. There is a ball there, not just exactly where he hit that one, but just along from it.
Yeah, sitting quite deep, and he's didn't play the one on the third all that well today, but that's a much better attempt from a just as tricky a lie. But had a fair bit of green to work with, so still a chance to get to 19 under.
Yeah, a chance to score his 21st birdie of the week. We haven't seen much of Christopher Hannell there this week. He comes from Stockholm. He's a former Eisenhower Trophy amateur player for Sweden. He's 9 under par. Having a very good week, tied with Ian Woosnam for joint 7th.
Well, he's a very good player. Finished 11th in Malaysia, 13th in the Heineken, 33rd in the South African PGA, and well, coming off the Challenge Tour. There are 3 good performances in his first year.
The Challenge Tour is Europe's equivalent to the Nike Tour, and we've said already this week, Warren, that the players coming off the Challenge Tour to the main tour regularly do better, more quickly on the main tour than the players who come through the qualifying school.
Yes, Hannell finishing 13th, and of course they only give 15 cards, so Not a bad season last year, but he's going to have a better one this year in Europe. This for the eagle for Jean, and that very tentative.
Can't help but notice that he seems to be coming up short on quite a few putts today, the Frenchman. And he should get a birdie and should move to 11 under. Kelson for a birdie at the short 13. Yes. Thank you very much indeed. A 2 for him, and he moves to 12 under par, and he and Russell are tied for second, 6 behind Lawrie, who's putting here to go to 19 under par and go 7 ahead again.
Absolutely unstoppable, and I tell you, he's got a nice rhythm and tempo about his whole game this week.
How different he is playing here this week in the final round when in contention than in Portugal last year, just around this time.
Well, quite a remarkable difference. There he is, leads by 7. Who's going to catch him?
Not often you come back to see a ball rolling down a fairway, but I can tell you that was the ball of Paul Lawrie.
Coming off 3 birdies on the bounce at 8, 9 and 10. really making it very difficult for the opposition to mount any sort of charge. Van der Velde also, I thought he was just going to find the fairway, but just in the light cut of rough, going across the corner of the dog leg. And this is one hole that has changed quite dramatically from these pictures of last year. A hole that dog legs from right to left. It was a fairly open tee shot where the players could fire it anywhere down the left-hand side and have just a short approach into the green. But with the fairways now much more sculptured, that rough on the left grown in a lot thicker, players have to shape the ball a little bit more from right to left if they can, and then, well, today just left with about 120, 130 yards, a pitch of about a wedge or a 9-iron into a pin that's cut away on that right side. Large green though, not one that the players should think about missing.
Yes, if ever there was a case that aerial shots should have been redone, it was certainly this year. I mean, the course looks nothing like the shots that are provided from those aerial pictures taken last year. Well, this is Raymond Russell. He's putting for a 3 at the 11th, where he holed for 3 yesterday, where he putted up the hill for 3.
I tell you, his putting stroke is as good a model as you could give to anyone. If you wanted to actually copy someone's putting stroke, then that sort of method and style is an excellent one to imitate. Stands pretty tall, lets his arms hang, nice swing of the putter. It's one that usually enables you to get a good idea of how the ball's going to come off the blade consistently, and it then gives you the idea of pace. So I hope he doesn't let me down and go ahead and miss the next one.
Price at the short 13th for a birdie. Oh, one more roll would have probably done it. 3, stays 11 under. The Qataris pump a lot of money into tennis. They have a big tennis tournament every year. That gets perhaps more publicity than the golf, which is strange because the Qataris must be aware that far more people travel the world with their golf clubs and want to come to strange places and unusual places to play golf than people travel the world to play tennis. Maybe they're underplaying their golf. They'd like to be as big as Dubai. They've got quite a bit to go yet. They've got an excellent golf course, but at the present moment it's all very low key. And Russell didn't let you down, by the way, as he gets his par at 11. And I think perhaps the organisers have got to look at how they market this event. They've got so much going for them that it's a very, very good product to sell, but maybe not taking full advantage. I haven't even seen any of the organising committee this week. Nobody's come anywhere near us to say hello, or mind you, we've never gone to see them either, I don't suppose.
John Bickerton going to get his par on the 12th. Lovely little chip from the back of the green. I suppose the one thing that Lawrie now has to guard against, with such a big lead with not too many holes to go, is a little bit of complacency. He's got to keep concentrating, playing just the one shot at a time, stick to his game plan, keep his rhythm constant. And his line just a little bit left of the flag. Aim it to the fatter part of the green. No point in this position being too aggressive. Anything 10 feet or so left of the hole, pretty good. Or perhaps you just go straight at it and maybe even hole it.
Yes, I think we can put the name on the trophy. Well, we won't, of course, because strange things happen in golf, but Paul Lawrie playing well within himself, it would appear to me, and very much in control of his game and of his emotions.
Do you know, I always remember Peter Dawson at the Tournament Players Championship at Fox Hills.
So do I.
You never know in golf. He blew a big lead going into the last hole, so you never know.
Finally lost to Neil Coles.
Took an 11 on a par 4, very tight par 4, dropped 7 shots. He was leading by 5.
Nice shot by Van der Velde, but of course it's, I suppose, average and ordinary compared to the shot that Lawrie put in there. The following week after that, Dawson was going to the Ryder Cup, if you remember. Played well in the Ryder Cup, but then his career was virtually over after that. Never quite recovered from that last round drama.
Very good left-hander.
Now working, I think, in France at Hardilow. At least the last time I saw him, he was at Hardilow, just across the channel. He may have moved on from there, but that was the last time I saw him. Paul Lawrie at 19 under, poised to go 20 under and take an 8-shot lead with 7 holes to play in the Qatar Masters here on the Persian Gulf. Well, if he could continue, he could get, of course, it's 27, 28.
I see the Tour News handbook is wrong. High finish by a winner, 69. 71, Jerry Norquist. I mean,
Go and check it.
sorry? Told you what. What's that? He is 20 under now. He's tapped it in, obviously. So that would be 268. No one's shooting the 260s yet this year. Did anyone do it last year?
Well, I'd like it to show us across record.
265, the Deutsche Bank for Lee Westwood. 267, Thomas Bjorn last year.
Welcome back. Well, while you were away, and certainly we can't show you the pictures, Paul Lawrie tapped in for his birdie 3 at the 11th. Jean van der Velde held his putt for a 3 as well. So van der Velde has moved to 12 under par, tied with Russell and Kjeldsen. And Lawrie has moved to 20 under. 4 birdies in a row for Lawrie in the middle of the round.
Can't complain about the pace there from Kjeldsen, and well, he's putting a very good round together. 3 under par for the round. And when you think that he's not been in this position too often, he'll be encouraged by this performance.
Is a dogleg all up the hill. I think the wind is beginning to help at this hole, which means, of course, it won't be helping on the 15th, which goes in the opposite direction.
Our first look of Kang today, who's not going along too well, 1 over par for his round. And who's done so well on the Asian Tour. But struggling today here in Qatar.
He's just had a 2 at 13, which might give him some encouragement. At the 12th, Russell.
Good shot by Russell. You can also see the ball on the green. That's of partner Stephen Gallagher, so both have got it across the gully. Price playing with Kang, not hitting it into the ideal position there. Going long. That'll be a little tricky shot down and across the slope at the back of the 14th.
If you've just joined us, you may be wondering what's happened to Stephen Gallagher, who was up there on the leaderboard going into this final round. Well, he's 5 over today, and that's after taking a 7 double bogey, second double bogey of the day at the 9th.
'15th, one of the toughest par 4s on the course. And Kelson finds the fairway. Once again, though, they're playing from a slightly forward tee because the officials knew this hole playing into the breeze and would have been a very long carry across the water otherwise.
At 13, Bickerton is putting for a 2. Looks very good. And is it lying on the edge of the hole? Goodness gracious, how did that not drop in?
Because this was the hole that he did hole in one earlier in the week, and of course he's one of his sponsors, his car dealer sponsor, John Musgrove, was so disappointed that he didn't get a car. He's going to give him, well, he was already giving him a car as a sponsorship deal, but he said, well, I'm now going to upgrade it for you. You can have a BMW. So a little bit of good news for him.
So he gets an upgraded BMW, while Eduardo Romero, who won a BMW, got a downgraded one. Originally we saw him getting a certain model. He kissed the bonnet. He kissed the wrong car. BMW officials here very quickly bringing out the car that they had always planned to give for the hole-in-one, which was a slightly cheaper model, £10,000 cheaper in fact. But Eduardo Romero quite happy to take it. And it was good to see that the local press managed to catch up with that story today.
Yes, Eduardo's going to ship it back home and give it to his wife.
Russell for 3 at 12.
Take it. Yeah, fuck them in.
Kang has already chipped here, and remember he missed the green on the left-hand side. He's short of the pin. Now Price with his third at 14.
Across the slope, but into a little bit of grain. Just has to be careful he gets the first bounce right. That's quite nicely played. Become a very steady performer, Philip Price, since his World Cup performances. Gave him the confidence for him to believe in himself a little bit more. And he's taken a much better positive attitude out onto the course.
Second shot at 15 of Soren Kelson coming across the water. Now someone shouted out there, and I wonder what that was all about. Perhaps someone shouting at another hole, but certainly putting off Kelson, and quite rightly Kelson stepping back and regrouping, as it were.
Couldn't have been a marshal, could it?
Oh, quite possibly. Excellent shot by Kelson, and whoever shouted didn't put him off. Well, here's the man who is dominating the event, Paul Lawrie. Second shot to the 12th. The way he's playing, this will go right down the stick. Thank you, Paul. This time, his second shot gets caught in the wind. That's unusual.
And I'm not sure that's not gone into the gully, just beyond the green.
Is there a bit of drama coming in the Qatar Masters at this stage? Paul Lawrie may be in the gully.
There's all sorts of rocks down there, and well, quite a severe hazard, so it may be a penalty drop. Down in the bottom of the gully there is some fairway grass which might be able to play out of, but just don't know at the minute, as Russell plays across the water on 13. 185 yards today. Really quite a short iron coming down the breeze, and certainly the wind is shifting round. It was more across the hole earlier on, now coming straight downwind.
It looks to me as if Hanlon may have been in the water at 15. Either that or he's been in... No, he was on the fairway. I suspect that might be his third shot. We shall wait and see from many spotters that are on the golf course. Some working better than others.
Yeah, it's going on quite nicely. Hanlon at 2 under for the day, 10 under for the tournament, so I hope for his sake he's not got his feet wet. And Lawrie actually has finished down in that gully. You can see Marshall pointing down there to where his ball is and how to get round there. May actually be on a bit of a sandy lie and might be able to play it like a bunker shot. But a little bit of an unforced error.
Oh no, I don't want you to jump down and twist an ankle. But cameraman Mark there with his intrepid sound man going down into the gully with him. The sound man's name is Tony.
Is this one of the situations now? He wants to be quite sure of what he's going to do down there, because it wouldn't be that difficult to blade that one, get a little bit thin, and you can blast it across the gully back into the gully on the other side. Quite a steep rock face to come up, not lying well, and I hope he can get enough of the club underneath the ball to play this like an explosion shot. So quite a bit of drama here. And looks to have played it very, very well indeed. That is a terrific shot, and he certainly didn't waste much time on it.
Big smile from Paul Lawrie. He's not going to continue his run of birdies, but he may get a par when many another player would have taken a bogey or even a double bogey from where he was in 2.
Well, 5 birdies in 8 holes, it's not too shabby. Well, Hanlon wasn't in the water, so this a birdie attempt for him. So he remains 2 under for his round if he can tap that one in. So far has played 15 rounds on the European Tour, Hanlon, and is 15 under par at the start of the round. So in his 16th round, he'll be 17 under. That's pretty steady performances. It's earned him €26,000. You see, I talk in euro, you talk in pounds. That's only because the order of merit system tells me that he's 27th on that money list.
Interestingly, the agencies are going to send out it in the money list in pounds as well now, so that we can all understand it.
Just a few spike marks on that 15th green, and they're quite a rare sight here this week. The course really is in excellent shape, just about as good as you can get. Let's just see one or two marks there, just causing that ball to jump a little, denying Soren the birdie.
Handle at 10 under.
And quite a thing for these fellas from the Challenge Tour coming over here, playing this week. The numbers of courtesy cars laid on, and players' lounge with all sorts of food and drink laid on for them. They must think they're in paradise. Wonderful practice facilities, marvellous course.
So Russell doesn't get his 2 at 13. He'll surely make his 3. Bob May, by the way, plugging along, has just had 4 pars in a row, so still 8 under, lying joint 9th.
Took the brakes and then just dived, didn't it?
Paul Lawrie has dropped only 2 shots this week. He's got this putt for par at 12, or he'll drop his 3rd shot. Bubbled just a little bit, very unlucky. So Paul Lawrie will take 5 and slip back to 19 under par. And his lead is suddenly trimmed to 7.
Yes, I don't think the wheels are coming off. Nothing falling off the back of a lorry.
Very, very funny. He certainly had a truckload of birdies this week.
Yeah, we better stop that one before we get too far involved. Beautiful putt there. I think that's the ball of John Bickerton. Didn't quite see him hit the putt. Recognised the markings on the ball as it was going across the green, and indeed Bickerton birdies 14. So he now at 12 under par.
Kelson, Bickerton, Russell and Van der Velde all at 12 under, sharing second place. What a battle for the second prize of £68,184, or $111,100, or to satisfy Warren Humphreys, €95,458.
Nice smooth 7-iron for Lawrie here on 13 required. May even be a big 8. Whatever it was, in the end, it's a very fine shot. And might bounce straight back with a birdie, as he did today on the 4th, as he did yesterday on the 16th.
I'll tell you who's making a good climb up the leaderboard, and that's Jamie Spence. He had 6 threes in a row a moment or two ago, but suddenly the computer has given him a 4 at one of the threes, but he's moved to 9 under par. Lawrie leads 19 under. Just started to say it was 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Actually 16 is that hole that you thought he might. Has he made 8-3 on the last. Wonder if you could get home, I bet. I could give anything now for a cup of tea and a biscuit. I wonder what's...
Any contact for anybody in Doha, the Scarlet Pimpernel, they see him here, they see him there. Next time we get rain. So, Steve Johnson, actually, don't give it to Steve. 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 Shame. If you're a betting man, I would put my money on Paul Lawrie. He's 7 shots clear, he's 19 under par, and he's only got 6 holes to play. And he's set up a birdie chance at the short 13th. If Laurie's going to win it, who's going to finish second, they're all asking. 4 players on 12 under par.
That was the shot of Philip Price, bunkered on 15, and really leaving that one on the high side. So you have the slippery putt coming down the hill.
One of the tragedies about this event, because it's well run on a great course, players love it here, is the fact that there are so few spectators to enjoy the golf. Now, it's easy to be critical, but I think we should remember that Qatar is a very small state in the Middle East, that not many people play golf, that today many people may be working.
Yes, and by bringing it down here, of course, it helps to promote the game in the country, and I think that's what they're trying to do, and encourage people to play, and to show the rest of the world too what very good golfing facilities they do have here.
Yes, it's all very well to say, you know, look at this event, look at the crowds compared to the Phoenix Open, and I think that's an unfair comparison. Our own Scarlet Pimpernel, Ian MacDonald, our cameraman, has emerged from the desert with a cup of tea for us. A very welcome cup of tea on a day when there's sand in the air, even in our outdoor studio here. Outdoor in the sense that we've got the door of our studio open. That's Mrs. Van der Velde, by the way, Madame Van der Velde, with one of their 2 daughters.
Bridget Van der Velde. Very nice lady.
Paul Lawrie for a birdie at 13.
He's only dropped 3 shots all week, and when he has dropped them, he's made a birdie on the next hole. Can he do it again? He can, so he keeps his record intact, and anytime he's been in trouble, and he's bounced back very strongly indeed.
8 shots clear, 5 to play.
Of course, Matthias Gromberg last year won at the K Club by some 10 shots. So Perhaps another couple of birdies, we might see a repeat performance. And just struggling a little today, but still 1 under, still hanging in there for second place, but it's not been smooth going for him. Russell up the hill at 14, can't see the bottom of the flagstick. Sometimes difficult to get to the back of the green, but with the breeze pushing the ball forward all the time, we've seen a number of players now just misjudge the second and push it through the back of the green. Philip Price did. Also pushed his second shot, Price, into the bunker on 15, so this to save par. Very quick down that slope, but that's a lovely touch putt.
So he gives 6th place on his own on 11 under par. Ahead of him Russell, Van der Velde, Bickett and Kelson on 12 under par, and Paul Lawrie at 20 under, leading by 8.
Yeah, strange round Price is having. No birdies, just 1 eagle.
This is Kelson. Second shot at 16, chance of a birdie. The largest winning margin on tour, well, 11 strokes. Tony Jacklin in the SEO, the Scandinavian Enterprise Open, back in 1974. Dale Hayes in the French Open at La Baule in 1978. Ken Brown at the Glasgow Open in 1984. Colin Montgomery at the Portuguese Open in 1989. And Vijay Singh at the Volvo German Open in 1992. Is that a possibility that Lawrie might just at the end of the day finish 11 under? That was Ian Woosnam, by the way, for a 2 to move to 9 under. For some strange reason in the tour book, there's the 17 shot win of Bernard Langer in the Casheron under 25 championship, which of course was not on the tour. It's an interesting fact, but it's not the largest winning margin on tour. Nice to know, though. Well, at one stage today, about an hour and a half ago, we were both of the opinion that Raymond Russell might be the man to push Paul Lawrie. And just as we said that, he took 6 at 9, and Lawrie began that run of 4 birdies in a row. Back on 8, 9, 10 and 11. I think up on 16 we've got Kelson for a birdie. This to go into second place on his own and 13 under. Well done.
What a week Soren Kelton is having. He seems less chirpy about that than the putt that he holed on the 9th. I wonder if he's suddenly realising what he's doing.
Well, that's out of date, that leaderboard. Lawrie at 20 under par, but Kelson we've just seen holing a birdie putt to move to 13 under. Lawrie leads by 7. won't get me going.
I knew I shouldn't have said
I shall now be bitter through up to the end of this program.
I didn't mean it like that.
Well, we don't even go.
Well, I mean, we don't. I mean,
Just surprised that happened. It seemed to be a hell of a long way down. It was almost in the water.
they're off a short tee.
That was a lot of wind up there.
See, they're playing it 32 yards forward. So, mind you, the water would be
It seemed to be all, maybe it was 4 shots.
290 yards to the water.
And it seemed to be right, as if it'd taken a drop.
Yeah.
I wish you'd never told me that. I'll be bitter now right through to the end.
Don't.
We've got an hour and 15 minutes to go.
Enthralling contest. Are we alright? Are we flat or are we doing alright? What's Mark James doing? You mentioned Mark.
Yeah, we have mentioned it. I think it's started
Finished 4, so he shot 7 3.
2-6 now.
Yeah. Wayne Riley's not finished too well today, is he? 11. 2 over today.
You got the pen here, Tim. 31. Yes, 31.
In actual fact, it's his own man, Paul Lawrie. I would say this for him. He doesn't hunt with a pack, like Ross Brunton. I mean, he does his own thing, and he's a bit of a... He's a wee bit like Russell in that sense. But, what do you mean by that? Kind of thing. Eh? He is a bit doer.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have a very spicy speech on the end, are we? An interview.
Interesting to see how this one. He came back just in time, I think, to see Paul Lawrie play his second shot up the hill to the 14th. And the way he putts, well, it certainly will be 4. It could even be 3.
Iron off the tee, 8 iron second for him. So still plotting his way around this course, thinking well. Jean van der Velde just a few yards further up. And nearly 20 yards further up, so maybe just a big wedge or a little 9. Oh my goodness.
What a big 9. And that's what happens.
Long green there at 14. Just misjudging that completely, Jean van der Velde.
Bob Mays had a 2 at the 17th to move to 9 under. He's now lying joint 8th.
Yes, and playing partner Ian Woosnam also had a 2 on that hole, so Woosie also 9 under. He'll be jetting off tomorrow morning to that World Championship event.
I tell you, when you look at the spectators, I think they're enjoying themselves. But they certainly look a reasonably glum lot. Dear, dear, dear.
That was the view behind the 15th, but we're on the 14th. I'm just saying it's a very large green, this 14. It's 40 yards long. And so for Jean van der Velde to well, fly that pitch shot. Really quite remarkable. This, though, is how Paul Lawrie started out today. Having dropped a shot on the third, that was his second to the fourth to get back to level par.
Well, it's interesting that we're suddenly getting this flashback to what he's done earlier on. But it's a timely reminder of just how well he's played, not only today, but all week.
This was the start of his birdie blitz in the middle of the round, the second shot to the 8th hole, yielding a birdie 2. This on the 9th, a long par 5, nearly 650 yards. Putt wasn't quite that long. That was 2 on the bounce, bouncing 34.
He's picking up 2 shots on his nearest driver, Raymond Russell, there. At the 10th, a birdie. And Lawrie wasn't finished after that.
Not a very long second shot here on the 11th. And Lawrie judging this pitch shot absolutely perfectly. Thought for a minute it might find its way into the hole for an eagle, but he'd have to settle for the birdie. He didn't mind. He had problems on the 12th, but on the 13th, beautifully hit iron. As we've seen all week from Paul Lawrie, he would bounce back with a birdie on the hole. Another beautifully weighted putt, and Lawrie at 20 under.
Beautiful golf for Paul Lawrie. And our sound engineer choosing some wonderful music to go with it. Not in any way raucous, as smooth as Laurie's swing is this week. And he's got his eye on that wonderful Qatari trophy. Lawrie at the 14th for yet another birdie.
Marshall almost behind the hole, holding his arms up. Surprised Lawrie didn't ask him to move, but
Too polite.
not affected the putt in any way. Just lagged it down there across the slope.
I hope it wasn't the back nine chief steward who's been running around in a buggy all week.
Just above the head there of Philip Price, the rock, showing us this is the 16th hole. Price going for the birdie. And still no birdie today for the Welshman. Remember, just that one eagle on 10.
Inside right.
Never online.
So even the advice of Toffee Tim not helping Jean van der Velde there with his par putt. Got a good command of the English language, Jean. It's kind of an interesting little relationship they have there.
This is well, because I'm not so sure Toffee Tim speaks much French, does he?
Very little. Closing hole for Ian Woosnam. Playing across the water, across the rocks where there's a waterfall pin today cut in a very tight position, back left corner. And of course playing alongside Ian Woosnam, Bob May. Interesting to see if Bob can get to 10 under.
Woosnam, who plays Scott Hook in the first round of the Match Play Championship next week at Carlsbad near San Diego. That's if the provisional draw, remains the same and nobody drops out injured.
.155, the 17th playing today. Well, we've seen 2 holes in one. Thought for a minute might see another. Excellent shot by Price. And he should get to 12.
That's the leaderboard. I think we'll take a break.
Great shot.
Well, when you were away, Ian Woosnam completed his round with a par 5, 71 for Woosnam in the final round, and he's finished on 9 under par in the clubhouse, tied with Jamie Spence. On 8 under par, we've got Sherland and Grunberg, and here on 18, Bob May is putting for his par. Very nicely holed. That putt has worked well for him this week, and it's another top 10 finish for Bob May. 9 under par for Bob, with a round of 70 to add to earlier rounds of 67, 70 and 72. Well done, Bob May, leading American in this week's Qatar Masters.
Yes, putted pretty well. Had a 29 average putts per round record, but didn't convert too many birdie putts though this week. Using those putts more to save par than to perhaps make a few birdies. Still another good week, another top 10 so far.
4 top 10s for him this week as Kang misses that one on 17. Kang Wook Soon, twice #1 on the Asian circuit, and the Asian circuit's leading money winner at the end of last year. There's been a sound engineer down behind that rock all week. Have you noticed him running backwards and forwards, sheltering from the The wind blowing the sand onto the golf course. That's Russell off the tee.
Coming off a bogey on 15, so Russell back to 11 under.
So Kelson winning the battle for second place at the present moment. He's on 13 under. Bickerton's on 12, in third place on his own. Price, Russell and Van der Velde sharing fourth spot. Cheika never made much of it today. He's still 7 under par and lying joint 13th. Price for a 2 for 12 under. He joins Bickerton in third spot.
And at last, a red number for Philip Price in the normal way. Birdie. Taken a lot of fear out of this hole, I think, the European Tour officials, by playing the tee forward some 32 yards on this hole. Would have been a bit of a brute into the wind off the very back tee. 470 yards.
Nicola Nesti, who did all the pins today, was telling me yesterday that if they'd played it off the back tee yesterday, and look at the wind straight into their face there, it would have been a very, very difficult second shot.
Well, Van der Velde there, I should say. 3-iron second for him today, so imagine that another 30 yards back. It would be certainly 2 woods, and anything in the rough at all would mean a layup. .75 yards for Paul Lawrie into the breeze. Just a nice smooth 4, holding the ball down. Might just have taken a little bit too much off it. May have caught that just a tad heavy. With a flag on 27 paces, and he's not too far on the front edge. I was going to have a St Andrews type putt coming up.
This is Kelson at 18, third shot, par 5.
Big test for him. Difficult pin placement left. Can't afford to drag it too much. He's still been aggressive. And this, a really wonderful performance from the Dane.
Now, if Bickerton could get a 2 here to share that second spot with Kelson. Well, he's got the chance. Good shot from John Bickerton. Been a good week for him. Caddy in for a good week. Good percentage of Paul Laurie's first prize, if as expected he goes on to win this, and more and more it looks as if Paul Lawrie would need to do something astonishingly bad to lose this.
I think he'd need to fall over and break a leg. I think that's about the only way that he's going to give this tournament away. But as we said before, remember, nothing's certain in this game. Good pitch from Russell.
Hannell for a birdie at the last. He's had 2 birdies on this back 9 already, so this for an inward half of 33 and an 11 under par score in the clubhouse, to lead in the clubhouse. That for par. Started this final round at 8 under. He's currently 10 under, so he's got that putt for a round of 70 as from the front of the green, Paul Lawrie for a birdie. More realistically, looking for 2 putts for par. Hoping to get this one close, and if it goes in, well, that's a bonus.
Die a little bit right to left as it nears the hole. This is all about pace, and he's judged that pretty nicely from where he was. 75 feet or so up the green, a little bit uphill.
Good putt by Kelson, but it's not a birdie. But it's been a very good week for him. And Soren Kelson can be very pleased with his performance. 70, 65 on day 2. He had a 72 yesterday, and he's closed out with a 68.
That's going to be a career best performance from Soren Kelson, whatever happens now. Terrific week for him.
Currently in second place on his own. Can he hold on to second place, or will someone catch him? I suspect somebody's going to catch him. Might even pass him. But at worst, I think a top 5 finish for Kelson. Raymond Russell follows up his bogey at 15 with a birdie at 16. Back to a share of third with Price and with Bickerton.
And the man that might catch up Kelson, Bickerton here with this putt. Just down on the low side.
So a 3 for John Bickerton at the short 17th. He remains at 12 under. He's got to birdie the last to catch Kelson in the clubhouse. And this is Lawrie for his par at 15. Excuse me, dropped a shot there yesterday. Didn't drop one today. 20 under par. He's had 24 birdies. He's dropped 4 shots. He's 7 shots clear of Kelson, who's in the clubhouse. He's got 3 holes to play. And he's a very, very happy man.
in this thick rough here?
I don't think he is.
No?
I don't think so, but he did have. Well, we've all enjoyed our visit to Qatar, and no one's going to enjoy it more than Paul Lawrie if, as expected, he now picks up that first prize of $166,660. He's 7 shots clear of Søren Kelsen in the clubhouse. Lawrie has 3 to play. This is Kang. Oh, very nicely done.
Yes, and before Kang could play, Hannell holed out at the last. That little short putt that he had for a 5 to finish at 10 under, so career best performance for Christopher.
Yes, a closing round of 70 for him. 17th, Russell.
You can see the flag on the left of your screen, just tucked behind the bushes, really bringing the water into play from where Philip Price is playing from. He's got a skirt along the water's edge, so you need to be sure of your yardage.
Well, a lot of movement up there by the clubhouse as they bring out the chairs for the presentation ceremony. They might just hang on a little bit, maybe do that when there's not someone just up by the green playing to it.
Nice. Almost lob wedge from where he is at 80 yards. Perfect.
Well, there you have it in pounds sterling. And rather curiously, their prize money on that caption is different from the prize money that we've worked out on the euro. And I'm not so sure that that those figures are correct. I can tell you they're not.
Van der Velde having to scale the rock to play his pitch at 16. So, awkward little blind pitch that he's going to have. He's not very far away. So he's going to have good visualization here. Played pretty well this week. 11th in greens in regulation. Not bad with the wand either. 29 putts around, 14th. Needs a good up and down here though. Currently 6th on his own.
Well, Lawrie may get a drop away. He's got a referee there, I think, from wherever he is there in the slight rough. But even if he took a penalty drop, I mean, he's still got plenty of shots in hand. No need for him to be a hero. Nicola Nesti is right there with him.
Got the feeling that the ball's not in the thick grass, but just by the edge of it. And I think he's asking the official more of how he can actually stand to it without breaking the rules, because he's allowed to take up his stance, but he can't stamp on any of that long grass to improve his lie.
So can I stand in the middle of it? Can I put my foot right in the middle of it and stand on it? Yeah. No problem.
So just asking what he's allowed to do.
No, if I go in once, I got to stay in.
He's asking if he can put his foot right in the middle of that and stamp it down, but Nicola Nesti, the referee with him, saying, well, what's your view, Warren?
Well, it is difficult for him because if he puts his foot almost in a position where he'll feel comfortable at the address position, he could be seen to be bending the grass and therefore improving his lie. Perhaps you might wonder at this stage whether there wouldn't be more of an advantage for him just to play an unplayable lie. And he's given it the hack forward. Maybe that was the best play, but quite right to have the official right there, especially now with cameras on course recording every movement and possible infringement. I have to say he was a little bit unlucky to find that tough right on the edge of the rough. There's only two little patches there. He's found one of them.
Up on 17, Raymond Russell is 12 under par. If he could get to 13 under, he'd be tied with Soren Kjeldsen in the clubhouse. under.
That's a good little burst from Raymond Russell. Birdie, birdie. Coming off the bogey as Lawrie plays his little chip. And he's just not been put off by anything this week, and perhaps that work with the psychologist, Dr. Richard Cox, who works with the Scottish rugby team, really helped him on the mental side of his game, which might have perhaps been a stumbling block in the past when he's had opportunities to win. But he's been very mentally strong and tough this week.
Interesting to see how the psychologist does with the actual rugby team who are playing against England today. England, of course, hot favourites to win. They're a very strong side.
And a strong finish by Philip Price. Birdie, birdie for him to get to 13 under. So now 3 players at 13 under.
Kjeldsen in the clubhouse, Price in the clubhouse. Raymond Russell has 1 to play and needs to birdie the last to get into second place on his own. John Bickerton needs to eagle the last to get to 14 under. So all eyes on Raymond Russell to see whether he can make it Scotland 1 and 2 with Lawrie in top spot. Here's Van der Velde, and he's putting for a birdie at 16. He could still get to 13 or 14 under. Maybe not now.
Hasn't looked all that comfortable today on the greens, Jean. I don't know why. Has put it pretty well all week. And that's another example. Just not got the feel in the fingers. A very, very costly bogey. So 2 drop shots in the last 3 holes for the Frenchman, and he's back at 10 under.
Kang has the chance of a birdie. Remember, hit his 3rd shot against the stick, bounced to there. That's 8 under par for Kang. A round of 73 today, however. 71, 67, 69, 73 for the star of the Asian Tour. Stephen Gallagher, by the way, had a birdie at 16. The second birdie of the day. That was Bickerton's 3rd shot at 18, so he might not get a birdie at the last. He may end up at 12 under.
Obviously had a go at the green with his second shot, finding the greenside bunker.
Well, Raymond Russell needs to birdie the last for 14 under and take that second prize. And he's in the rocks. What a poor tee shot, Warren, at this particular stage. Well, we saw Alexander Cheika playing out of there in an earlier round. Maybe he'll be lucky. Maybe Russell will be as lucky as the German was.
Just a three-quarter shot for Paul Lawrie. Little 8-iron into the 17th green.
All those memories of that 82 he shot when he was in contention to win the Portuguese Open last year have completely disappeared from his mind. He erased it completely with his performance here this afternoon.
Yes, and sometimes you can learn a lot more from those disasters than perhaps sometimes good performances. He was obviously not going to make the same mistake twice. John plays his shot once again right over the top of the flag at 17. I was just thinking it was a very good performance last week, very professional performance from David Howell when he won his first European Tour title, and just as impressive this week, the performance of Lawrie.
Bickerton's fourth there already this season on the European Tour. Two South Africans, Els and Frost, have won. An Australian, Jared Mosley, has been successful. Jerry Norquist from America has won a title, and David Howell from England. And now we're going to have a Scot winning the sixth event of the season. Paul Lawrie. What a performance by him this week in Qatar. A Scot won the title last year. A Scot is going to win the title this year. Depending on what Vanderbilt is. My goodness, you cut it fine there. I thought you were going to miss Paul Lawrie's birdie attempt at the 17th, but you just made it, I think. He's going to make par. I can tell you why you were away. John Bickerton three-putted the last to take 6, and he finished on 11 under par in the clubhouse. Bickerton today with a round of 71. Just a very short putt just at the end. And Alexander Cheika also finishing his round. He finished on 8 under, and he had a round of 73 to finish. Well, now Russell has been amazingly lucky.
Well, I don't think that he's been all that lucky in the end, Renton. I think he's had a penalty drop,
Do you think
dropping
so?
it out of the hazard. So he's going to have to rely on a good pitch. He can't reach the green from where he is, just got to play for position now. You can just see the red stake to the left of him now. That's the marker which marks the edge of the hazard, because it's dry at this part of the hole. Further up by the green, of course, water very much in evidence.
So the third shot of Raymond Russell.
Yes, and unless he can hold his pitch from there, unlikely to pass Kelton or Price, who are already in the clubhouse.
Meanwhile, Lawrie on 17 for par. Well, isn't it comforting to know that you've got a 7-shot advantage when you step onto the last tee? And even if Raymond Russell were to hold his next shot and finish 14 under, he'd still have a 6-shot advantage. Off tape, that was Van der Velde at 17. Three for him. He stays at 10 under, so he needs a birdie to join John Bickerton in 5th spot. As we look at the 18th from the air, 592 yards stretching all the way back up to the clubhouse.
And you can see the waste area away to the left, or the water hazard. No water in that at the moment, but that was the area that we saw Raymond Russell drive his ball into. He really wanted to be a lot further over to the right. And the only way you can really reach the green is if you try and play your second shot from where those players were just to the left of your screen. You need to be 300 yards or so off the tee before you can attack with your second shot. Otherwise it's a layup into an area which coming up into your screen about now, leaving the players a little wedge shot into the green. Bickerton did try after a big tee shot to get it onto the green, but he found that right hand bunker that guards the front entrance. And you can see how the water comes into play.
Yes, Bickerton took 4 more to get down from that bunker.
Might still record his career best performance though on the European Tour. Previously it was 8th, he's currently 5th. But still expensive. Paul Lawrie's driven the ball so well all week. He had been plagued in the past with sort of a destructive pull hook at times, but we've seen no evidence of that today.
He's smiling. He senses that victory is well within his grasp. What a tragedy.
What's this one, 5? Folks still walking. Stand still.
Can't be.
Sure, no, they've got
One in the water.
folks be focusing on paying attention.
Not going to be too overly disappointed, it will be, but what's that going to cost him? Well,
Might have finished second if he'd won, even if he'd stayed where he was.
well, if he stays where he is, he would have finished with third money, wouldn't he? 50,000, and he's actually going to get 6th, 7th. He's going to finish 7th. Cost him £25,000. Yeah?
That's dollars.
Is that dollars? Oh, that's okay. Well, we're talking to these guys in dollars, aren't we? So that's if you 2 putts.
Stand still, please. Right, please.
Why wouldn't we have taken the 4 minute break after they got rid of the runners, after the, before the presentation? All sorts of drama here at the 18th involving Raymond Russell, who's put his 4th shot into the water. He's put his 6th on the green. But this is Gallagher.
1 under for the back 9, so this to be back in 34, which is a bit of a recovery after his very poor front 9.
Well, he started the day at 10 under. He's likely to finish at 6 under, so it's going to be a round of 76 to close for Stephen Gallagher, but no doubt he has learned much. He was saying yesterday that he was very, very tired after having played 3 rounds on the golf course, so I think we'll see a bit of Stephen Gallagher in the next few weeks. Coming good. He will have learned much from today. Lawrie just with his 2nd shot up. Just laying up. Nice stroll up the hill for Paul Lawrie to pick up that first prize of $166,660. Now, Warren, you've been doing some very quick mathematics. Your math is very good. So you can tell us just exactly what this is all about.
It's all about a lot of dollars, because if you 2 putts from here, you'll only end up with about $25,000 for his week's work. He'll go back to a share of 6th place. If he'd have finished at 13 under, made par on this hole, he'd have won 50,000, so $25,000 swing. And that is a very, very disastrous snowman to finish with, an 8.
So Raymond Russell an 8 and slips back to 10 under and into a share of 5th place with Christopher Hannell and Jean van der Velde. Jean van der Velde, of course, could still birdie the last. Well, that's Gallagher finishing off with 5. And a round of 76 for Stephen Gallagher. And Gallagher finishing 15th on his own. Not a good final day, but Gallagher has so much potential. Former Walker Cup player and nephew of Bernard Gallagher, who captained the last 3 Ryder Cup teams. Van de Velde looking for a birdie. Good shot there, looking for a birdie to get into a share of 4th spot with John Bickerton.
I've got to put it back to the old one, see how long that one lasts.
Something like $40,000 for a 4th. If he stays where he is at the present moment, he'd make 30,000. So something like a $10,000 putt coming up, give or take a few dollars or so. I'm working on very rough figures.
Well, can Lawrie finish in some style? Sure, he'd like to birdie the hole. Left it just a nice 100 yards from the flag. Not taking any chances whatsoever.
Well, we'll take a break and we'll come back and see Paul Lawrie win the Qatar Masters.
Nothing more. He's got his family. So I can only take it.
So he's going to be the only player to break 70 to all 3 in 4 rounds.
Excellent, because Kate Shaker didn't do it.
No, and Gallagher didn't know. So, what's he going to shoot this round? What did he start the day at?
Started at 16 under.
So he's got 2 putts for 68, so he can do 3 putts.
Oh my God. Well, while you were away, Paul Lawrie has putted up. He can 3-putt for a 69, and he would be the only player this week to have 4 rounds in the 60s. But he has got a putt for 68. He has got a putt for 5 as the personnel who have been responsible for putting on this event gather in the stand. Presentation ceremony will be made by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Thani, the president of the Qatar Golf Association, and Sheikh Saud bin Khalid Al Thani, the chairman of the Qatar National Olympic Committee, is also here. Van de Velde then for a birdie, and this is a $10,000 putt. This for a share of 4th or a share of 5th. Oh dear, it came so close to dropping. But Jean Van de Velde will finish with a 5. And on 10 under par, That is a round of 73 for Jean van der Velde. 5th place with Raymond Russell and Christopher Hannell. And just one man left to finish, Paul Lawrie. He's got 1 putt to win by 7. He's got 2 putts to win by 6. This for a closing 5. This for 68. Well, the putter never let him down all week. Well done to Paul Lawrie. He dropped only 4 shots all week. He finished 20 under par, two under par better than Andrew Coulthard last year. And he has finished 7 shots clear of Soren Kjeldsen and Philip Price, who shared the 2nd spot. An excellent week, Warren, for Paul Lawrie.
Yes, certainly was the player of the week, and I see just slip that ball into his pocket. He's not giving that away to the crowds. That's one he's going to keep some memento for himself, and he's certainly laid the ghost to rest of some of those other opportunities which he's let slip in the past. Marvellous performance by Paul Lawrie, and I'm sure Adam Hunter in Scotland will be delighted with his pupils' play this week.
Yes, Adam Hunter, his coach. 68, 65, 67, 68 for Paul Lawrie, winning the 2nd Qatar Masters and winning it well. Let's just have a look at the final leaderboard. Kjeldsen from Denmark, his best performance on tour. Philip Price, very good performance by the Welshman. Finished strongly, birdie.
And John Bickerton, his best career performance, a 4th place finish, as with Christopher Hannell. So a lot of good performances this week.
Yes, and further on down the list, Stephen Gallagher took 76 on the final day, but still managed to finish in the top 15. Bit disappointing for Alex Cheka. I thought he might have made a bit of a run of it. Patrick Sherlin moved up today, however, with that 65. He finished joint 11th. Well, Paul Lawrie is the winner of the Qatar Masters, and in a moment or two he'll be presented with his wonderful trophy, and I'm sure we'll hear a word from the winner. Andrew Castle will be interviewing him. Andrew Castle from Sky Television. We'll have a word with the winner either before or just after the presentation ceremony, which will be supervised by the man who's been in charge of the tournament this week, David Probyn. The Doha Golf Club And the Doha course has been an excellent venue for this Qatar Masters. Indeed, the only venue, because it's the only grass course in Qatar. But my goodness, Ronald McNeil and his greenkeeping staff had the course in perfect order, and the golfers have thoroughly enjoyed their week here after the week in Dubai. The man who perhaps has the biggest smile on his face is the Scot from Aberdeen, the gamekeeper's son, who played so well throughout the 4 days and who came out with a bit of pressure in this final round, having blown a chance in Portugal last year, but this time no surprises as he held on to that lead and improved it. 5 shots clear with a round to go and finishing 7 in front. Well, almost time for the presentation ceremony. So I think it's all the stewards are gathering there behind the green, and the presentation ceremony just about ready to start. And we'll either hear first of all from Andrew Castle or from David Probyn, or maybe even from both.
His Excellency Sheikh Saeed bin Khalid Al Thani, Chairman of the Qatar National Olympic Committee. You're most welcome, sir. And Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Thani, President of the Qatar Golf Association. If you would like to make the presentation of the trophy to the champion, Paul Lawrie. And a beautiful trophy it is too. You know, you'll not be taking this one home with you, Paul.
Oh, won't be?
No, because it's not going to fit in hand luggage. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, it's nice. Do you want to put that down for a second? And we'll have a little word. There's your replica back there, by the way. Here, you can hang on to that one. That's lovely. Now, Paul, 36-hole victory at the Catalan Open back then. Yep. 72 absolute beauties this time, including a par at the last.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some people thought that my first win, wasn't a real win. Being 36 holes, I never felt that. But now I've won over 72 holes. I know I can win, and it came right.
It was a clarity of thought out there, wasn't it? I mean, the game plan going into today was to just let them come to you and not lose the tournament yourself.
Well, I knew if I broke 70, there was no way they could catch me, and ended up shooting 68, and they didn't catch me, so the game plan worked, yeah.
I mean, on Friday night, the fellas were talking and thinking, well, 12 or 14 under par might be a winning total. I mean, you were probably thinking the same, weren't you?
Probably. I thought maybe 15 would be a good score. I putted obviously lovely. Again today, I hold the putts I had to. I did that all week. That's why I'm standing here now.
A word to Adam Hunter, the former Portuguese Open champion who you've been working with. A word for him back home. Yeah,
I went to see Adam. I've had 3 sessions with him now, and things have gone very well. Obviously, David Whelan, a big thank you to him as well. I worked with him for a couple of years. But Adam's worked very hard, and every credit to him too.
And Marion.
Yeah, the wife, yeah. Marion will be back home with the kids. Oh, yeah. I'll be home tomorrow. Obviously, Tour Pro's wife's never nice at times, but she's been there for me. And
I can assure you it's fine when you play like that. That really just didn't give her any kittens whatsoever. It was fantastic. It's a real shame, actually, that there's no tournament next week, because in this vein of form, you just want to play, don't you?
Well, not really. I think a week off will be nice and get back into it Portuguese. Not all that bothered.
We'll look forward to seeing you at the Meridian Penina in a couple of weeks' time. March the 4th, the starting date for that. But for now, the Qatar Masters champion, Paul Lawrie, a magnificent performance. Many congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Paul Lawrie, the 1999 champion, looking forward to a week off with the wife back in Aberdeen in Scotland, where, well, it might even be snowing there for all I know. It's pretty cold up there in Scotland at the present moment, but down here the sun has been shining, and it has been shining on Paul Lawrie. Let's just once again remind ourselves about some of the fine shots that Paul Lawrie played in this final round for 68 to win that first prize. First of all, his second shot to the 4th hole. He started birdie, he dropped a shot at the 3rd, but setting up a birdie there, which he snapped up. 3 pars followed, and then here he is on the 8th tee, Warren.
Yes, and this is start of a birdie blitz in the middle of the course. Beautifully controlled 5-iron, holding it up into that right to left wind. A real classy shot. He converted that short putt for a 2 on the 9th, 647 yards to lay up in 2 for a good pitch, an even better putt, and out in 34, and a stranglehold on the tournament. Good chip from short of the green on the 10th hole, and another birdie opportunity, and that putter, well, behaving itself quite beautifully.
And how about this second shot to the 11th? Precision perfect. Bernard Langer style here. Almost into the hole for an eagle too. He tapped in for his 4th birdie in a row. Then, surprise, surprise, he dropped a shot at the 12th. But then he came to the 13th, the short hole.
Only dropped 3 shots all week. Every time he dropped a shot, he came back with a birdie. And that fine iron across the water would mean that he'd have the chance to keep that record alive. And as you'd expect, he held the putt.
Totally in control of his game, totally in control of the championship. He parred 14, 15, 16, 17. He had this for 68 at the last, and the closing par and the putter again was his greatest friend. But I tell you this, he didn't only putt well, he chipped well, he played through the green with considerable confidence for 20 under par, and that 7-shot advantage over Kelson and Philip Price. What a week for Paul Lawrie. We'll hope to come back here to play in the 3rd Qatar Masters and defend his title.
A good venue for the Scots.
Yes, indeed. Coulthard last year, Lawrie this year. There are his 4 scores in the 60s. Philip Price finishing strongly today, 70, 68, 69, 68. But 7 shots back. Along with Kelson, that's 65 helping him on day 2. Bickerton 6 at the last, but it didn't really matter. Par, and he would have still finished 4th. Raymond Russell taking an 8. Van der Velde, nothing really for him on the final day. Christopher Hannell having his best performance on tour. And there's Ian Woosnam heading off to Carlsberg, or Carlsbad I should say, for the Anderson Consulting. Bob May, another top 10 finish. 4 top 10 finishes already this season for Bob May. A 70 today. And on down the list, Patrick Sherland with a 65 on the final day, moving up dramatically. He too heading off to Carlsbad. Stephen Gallagher, 3 excellent rounds, and then a 76 on the final day, dropping him back down the table. There's last week's winner, David Howell, 3 rounds of 72 under 70. Mark James and Wayne Riley at the top of that page, both taking 74 on the final day. Miguel Angel Martinez 76 if we slip back down to the bottom of the page again. There's Coulthard, the defending champion, 286 for him. Marc-Antoine Fary 66 on the first day, but didn't produce that on day 2 or today. 76 closing round, finished on par, finished 40th. One down. This Per Nyman started well, so too did Eduardo Romero, but although he finished on 288, he won a £25,000 BMW for his hole-in-one at the 17th on day 1. On down the list in a tournament which really was dominated by Paul Lawrie. Final comment, Warren?
I think it was a terrific performance by a lot of young hopefuls and a marvellous performance by Paul Lawrie.
Reminder that you'll be able to watch later on in the day the continuation of the Nike Tour event in Mississippi. And I hope you've enjoyed our coverage here in Qatar of the Qatar Masters. We're having a week off next week in Europe, but we'll next be back at Penina for the Algarve Open. From Warren Humphreys and from myself, goodbye.